our time is a time of radical uncertainty, which means that the past is not a very good guide for the future. That creates problems with boards that are used to looking at the future through the lens of the past. All people do that, but boards are people. Boards are a bunch of peers, usually experienced and intelligent, but that's what they are. So they're facing incredible challenges that are very often new challenges. The challenge of artificial intelligence is one, and it's an existential challenge because it has enormous opportunities, but also could be a huge disruptor of both business and the way we look at the world. Some people say that it even raises an existential question for boards themselves, because artificial intelligence, in the end of the day, is rationality expanded. And boards were invented because the rationality of individuals is limited, is bounded. There is a huge set of new risks, the primary risk of which is the environmental risk. Our planet is behaving in ways we don't know anymore what to expect. The capital markets themselves are changing enormously. So the way companies raise capital, whether debt capital or equity capital, is changing. Private markets are becoming very big, which means that the role of the board itself is changing, because now we have private people, not the markets as a whole in a dispersed shareholder mode, that are actually becoming principals. And that can be very good, but that can also create problems for the minorities that are not the principals. So there is a big tension there. The role of institutional investors is also changing in a sense that they're being consolidated very much. And they themselves are getting bigger and bigger slices of a company's equity capital. All of this together creates a problem with culture in companies, because changes are happening very fast. And culture is developed in any kind of institution, whether it's a company, an international organization, an association, anything, slowly. Culture is developed through interaction of humans in the way they do things, in interaction of behaviors. When things are changing all of the time, culture does not have that kind of what I could call the temporal space to develop itself. So very often we have problem with people's behaviors more and more because things are changing so fast. All of these problems are problems for the board. And boards are not necessarily equipped to deal with them. So what do they need? Do they need experts, more experts as board members? I don't think so. Do they need experts as advisors on the board, to boards, rather than to the company? I think that's one way of doing it. Do they need more and more continuous education as board members? Absolutely. So all of these issues are issues that they need to grapple with and understand what the needs of their boards are. I think the first step is, and it always was, I would argue, is to hold a mirror to ourselves, to see where are our strengths and weaknesses in any board. The strengths can be in composition, the strengths can be in the knowledge of certain people, the strengths can be that certain people are very close to the business and understand it. Conversely, there are areas where there might be gaps in how the board understands the world. And as I said, because of all of these challenges, you need this gap. So you need to identify what are your strengths and where are the gaps. On the basis of this assessment, you then need to develop a program for the board to become better. The program might mean getting new members, the program might be getting better information, the program might be getting better advisors, the program might be getting specific function or a specific structure, new committees as opposed to the old committees. All of these things need to be put on the table, and they need to be put on the table on a regular basis so that boards can keep up with these huge challenges and this radical uncertainty that I mentioned.